It's summertime here in Kentucky and right around the 4th of July, and it's the perfect time of year to forage for wild blackberries. We're blessed to have a lot of wild blackberries right here on the farm at Kowalski Mountain, and I'm going to forage so I can make us a very special treat. Hey friends, it's Barbara Sue at Kowalski Mountain and welcome to Kowalski Mountain. We are here on the summer workation, and I always love to come in July because it's blackberry season. Now, Philip has a birthday in July, and I happen to make some homemade ice cream this week, and so I want to pick enough blackberries to make him a blackberry cobbler for his birthday. Now I can hear the thunder rumbling behind me, and I want to pick them before I run out of time. Now we have several patches of blackberries here on the farm, but this is the best spot. So this is up in what will be our pasture that we are fencing for our cattle, and we are going to guard this area from the cattle because I don't want them to ruin my berries. But this is a very large patch here in the pasture, and it's the easiest place to forage for them. Now, what I want to make today is a blackberry cobbler, and I need 4 cups. And the berries are just really starting to ripen, but I think I'm going to be able to pick enough. Now, these are not a thornless variety. These are wild blackberries, and they are very thorny. So I do have to be careful. Last year, maybe it was the year before, I pruned this area very heavily. I might have a video on it. I'll have to check. But I pruned it very, very heavily, like really butchered it up. But I did that so that it would come back and recover, and that it would be even better. Now, my daughter was just here, and she tells me that this is elderberry. Now, I didn't realize we had elderberry on the farm, but the patch is full of it, and I don't remember it being here before, so hopefully pruning it allowed other things to grow and flourish here as well. Ooh, it's got me. I should have brought my gloves just so I have a way to get away from these briars. Ouch. Here's a better view of the elderberries. Now, we used an app to identify this as elderberry, and from the people that have shared elderberry, I'm pretty sure it is. So what are your thoughts? Is this elderberry? I'm not going to do anything with it this year. I'm going to learn about it, but it's so good to know it's here. Now, I'm not the only one interested in the blackberry patch. There are a lot of bees. Obviously, we have the apiary here at Kowalski Mountain, and so we want the bees to do their job, so good for them. Also, the Japanese beetles, and I saw a couple in here, but they haven't ravished it yet. They will. Eventually, they will ravish it, but they're just getting started. So it's good that I'm here to get ahead of them, so that I can get the berries instead of them. I like it when I find the big ones. This storm is bringing in some cool air, which is so welcoming. Now, the last time I did a big haul on the blackberries, I made blackberry jam, and I'll put that up here. We still have quite a bit of it, so I don't need to make a bunch more. We don't actually use a lot of jam, which I'm sad to confess that, but it's true. I do think we're going to use more once we start getting milk from the cow, because I love yogurt, and I'm going to flavor my yogurt with jam. So I think once we start making our own yogurt, that we're going to use quite a bit more. Now, Philip actually planted more blackberries that are the thornless variety. They're actually doing really, really well, but they don't have any fruit yet. It's amazing how fast these have ripened. When earlier in the week when my daughter and I just got here, I came up and checked, and they were really starting to ripen, but they have really ripened a lot since we checked that first day. Now, I mentioned to you the Japanese beetles. Whoops, those are Japanese beetles right up in there. It's kind of down there in that flower. Here we go, here's one. And they will ravage this patch, and our fruit trees for that matter. Now, back on this end of the patch is a really big briar bush, and Philip used his phone and said it's a type of rose. Now, I've never seen it bloom, but I've left it, ouch. I've left it for that reason. And that rose bush has some really big thorns. I wish I could show you. There is a very big cluster of Japanese beetles. I'm going to see if I can get them with my phone. I'll give it a go. Those are Japanese beetles. They're a little iridescent. And I keep my water close by, trying to be very careful not to get dehydrated again. I'm drinking my Switzel, my Haymaker's Punch. And I dilute it down quite a bit. I don't really care for it full strength, but I diluted enough to get the flavor and I'm sure the nutrients that the Switzel has to offer. I'll be sure to put a video up here about that. It's so peaceful out here. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm sure you can hear neighborhood noise and traffic, but not here. Sometimes, but not very often. We only have a couple neighbors. We're not close to any major roads. It's just so peaceful. Now, just in case you were curious, this is Western Kentucky, so we don't really have to worry about bears. They do have bears in Eastern Kentucky, but we could possibly have snakes around. Now, I haven't seen any snakes yet this trip, but I usually see some. I'm going to guess that I'm pretty close to 4 cups, which is what I need. If I don't have 4 cups, I'll adjust the recipe. I know I have at least 3. So I've picked most of the big berries. I left some of the small ones just because the small ones aren't as good as the big ones. But I'll keep looking a little bit more. All right, I think I have enough to make my Blackberry Cobbler for Philip's birthday tomorrow. So I'm gonna save the rest for another day, and I'm gonna bring you along while I make that Blackberry Cobbler tomorrow. All right, friends, sorry about the light. I don't have my fancy lights here in Kentucky. So we've been out all day working in the fields, putting in the new fence lines for our Dexter cattle. And I want you to be sure to check out that video. I don't know if it'll be done yet, but if it is, it's tagged up here. Now, today is a special occasion. Today's Philip's birthday. I am making some Blackberry Cobbler. Now, this is super simple, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Now, you came along when I picked all the blackberries, and this is supposed to be 4 cups. I'm going to say it is. I'm not even going to measure. We're going to give these a quick rinse. And I know that there's no chemicals on these berries. Because they're right here from our farm where there's no chemical spraying. Now I'm going to let those drain out while we mix up the topping. Now this is super simple. It's a cup of flour, a cup of sugar, 1 large egg. Now let's stir that up first. We're just going to stir this up really good. Now I'll add my egg. And 6 tablespoons of melted butter. The recipe does call for a tablespoon of lemon juice that you go over with the blackberries. I don't have any here at the homestead, so I'm going to skip that step. Now this is just making our crumble. And now I'm just going to put this over the top in little dollops. I'm really sorry about the light. Now that's it. Now as soon as my supper comes out of the oven, this is going to go in. And now that I'm reading the directions, I shouldn't have mixed the butter in. I should have drizzled it, but it's going to work a-okay. I will give you the proper instructions that you can follow correctly. We're going to go with this. This is going to bake for 35 minutes at 375 degrees. Now this is a recipe from Bear Tracks Blackberry Farm, which is a local farm to us in Florida. They gave us our recipe when we bought blackberries from their farm, but it is so good, that's what we're having tonight. So this is going to go into the oven, and then we're going to enjoy this with some homemade ice cream. Well, friends, thanks for watching. We appreciate you being a part of the Kowalski Mountain family. We'll see you next time.